Hello, everyone. My name is Mo Kilu, and I'm a member of CCI Toronto. Thank you for tuning in today. You may have seen me do a check-in last week with Sue Langlois, and we'll continue to pay it forward and spreading good cheer amongst our CCI volunteers. I'm here with Connie Pappas-Boccitto. I think I said that right this time, Connie. Good.
Yep.
A sales representative with Royal LePage. So I'm really excited to be connecting with you today, Connie. How are you doing?
Keeping busy as much as we can, like everybody else, trying to keep sane, but overall okay.
Very good. So tell me a little bit, how has it been for you now with the spring market right now? That's usually the busiest time from what I understand for a lot of the real estate brokers. How
Yes.
does this season differ from previous years?
The beginning of this year, everybody was off to the races, and the market was really starting to pick up sort of mid-February to mid-March for that month. But with everything happening in the world with COVID, it's definitely slowed down. Our business is a face-to-face business, and not just a face-to-face business, but in your home business. So a lot of sellers who were maybe thinking of selling are saying, you know what, I don't want strangers in my house. Or on the flip side, buyers who are like, you know what, I want to move up while I don't know if I'm going to have a job in a month, or I don't want to have to go into other people's homes in case they're not following sort of cleaning protocols. So it's been an interesting go. A lot of businesses on hold. But having said that, people still need places to live. So we saw in the first 2-3 weeks of the emergency shutdown, a lot of people were stuck in between transactions. So, we've had clients who had bought something but hadn't sold yet, or vice versa. So they really had to move, and they really had to work with us, obviously with, gloves and masks and all that stuff. But it's not like it was, but that's okay. I think everybody just needs to stay home and stay safe. And if somebody needs to move, certainly, we're there to help them, but I don't think it's the times to start pushing people to move in a situation like this.
So I think, for a lot of the industries, we've all had to adapt one way or another in different situations. How has that been for your industry, and what have you had to do to get more clients in order to be able to continue to participate in this market?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because it's not only how we're interacting with our clients, but it's how we're interacting with other agents and other offices and our offices ourselves. A lot of us do work from home most of the time. So from a day-to-day, commute to the office, we don't have that. We're used to that. But like I said, we still have to go out with our clients. So in dealing with clients, we're pre-qualifying people a lot more. I think gone are the days when you get a call off your sign and you run to meet that person and show that property. And also, I know for myself, I'm doing a lot of pre-work for clients. So rather than setting up 5 showings and taking them around, I will do that myself. I will video tour. Hopefully the listing themselves will have a virtual tour. Send that back to my client, talk to my clients and say, okay, is it really worth going to check out in person? So you really sort of cut out the clutter, and it's a very, very focused approach to finding somebody a house. And on the flip side, as a listing agent, we're doing the same thing. We're doing virtual tours to limit the amount of traffic. Before this all happened, I myself had a listing. We had over 100 showings in 1 week, and it was great. Obviously, we got a great price for the condo, but that was the name of the game pre-COVID. Get as many people in as you can, get as much traffic, get as much buzz, and get the highest price you can. Now, we're still trying to obviously get a great price for the property, but we don't want anybody in there. Nobody wants anybody anywhere, right? So we have to be creative in ways to get people through the door, whether it is virtually or limit the number of showings. There's COVID acknowledgement forms. You have to say, you haven't traveled, you're not sick, really to do contact tracing if there is an issue.
Yeah.
But that's how we're sort of dealing with current clients and current listings. And even just as simple as, a lot of the offices, a lot of brokerages, they're closed to the public. So we do deposits. We pick up deposit checks from our clients. We take them, we deliver them, we hand them to the office receptionist. That's no longer happening either. So it's all mostly been done by wire transfer. So it's a great thing for brokerages who may have not been embracing technology, because really we're not just virtual agents, but we have to do a lot more electronically. And I think it's a little bit more efficient, to be honest.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of efficiencies from what you're describing. I think if I recall back when you were talking a little bit about the virtual setups within the unit, if let's say you had to
Yes.
show it. I remember a few years ago I had to list my unit, and the agent was there with one of the kind of the buyers or one of the individuals, and the other one was overseas. So they
Right.
were going around my
Yep.
place with a FaceTime, and then I thought, 2 years ago, I was like, this is bizarre. How are you going to base your judgment on this? But,
Yeah.
now it's the norm. So it's,
It is. And you know what, like to your point, I've been doing this for quite some time, because not all our clients are in the city,
yeah,
right? Or they can't make it or whatever, but you don't want to miss the opportunity to give them to see the property. So I think just generally people are afraid of being in front of a camera or, dealing with technology. And I think it's just propelled us to, this is the new normal. So business is still chugging, but it's chugging at a much slower pace. It's kind of just on a soft pause right now.
right. Do
Yeah.
you, do you see that you're going to have a busier summer or fall because of all the
Yeah,
happenings
I
lately?
I think so. I mean, right now we say working on our business rather than working in our business, right? So we're all taking the time to brush up on skills, get additional designations, readings, training. I'm redoing my website, like all the stuff that we've always wanted to do, but we're too busy to do because we're running around like crazy people. So in that way, it's still quite busy because we're working on rather than in. But when we start going back to working in the market full time, there was already pent up demand that we started seeing in the fall and coming this year, right? Prices were starting to come back up, bidding wars were coming back. So it's going to be really interesting. I think there's needs to be a balance in the market of all of those people who are pent up, who want to buy or sell, but also what are their financial situations now? Unfortunately, I had a couple clients who were so ready to jump into the market, but they just said, you know what, I've lost my job temporarily. I can't get a mortgage. I'm no longer approved. So once everybody's getting back to work, I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be go time.
That's great. I think it's going to be a busy time, and if you're creative, you always think of different ways to do things. And like you said, all the things that we couldn't do before because we were busy, now this is the time to focus on it. I guess I wanted to ask you. You mentioned this a little bit. You talked about listings, how that changed during COVID, but specifically with condos, say you had, and I think you mentioned this a little bit earlier about closing a unit during this environment. What does that look like, and what have you had to do to make it happen, I guess, and make
Yeah.
it
So
comfortable?
I had a couple closings just when the hammer was falling, I'll call it, with everything closing down. And, I had a hard time getting into the condo, and I kind of had to not beg and plead with the concierge, but saying like, listen, I don't want to be here either. Right? I'm like, but my marketing materials, my staging, my furniture is in that unit, and the new owner gets it in a week, right? Like I was waiting until the 2-week lift was lifted. Clearly, we're 2 months in, that hasn't happened yet. So, you just have to you have to work with whoever you need to work with at the property. And you also have to be sensitive to what's going on, right? Like masks, gloves, all the PPEs, hand washing, all that stuff. Just be respectful, I think, of the space. And, even in terms of closing properties, leaving keys in lock boxes versus sending clients to the lawyer, that's happening a lot now too, to avoid just like, it's amazing when you think about all of the fingers and hands that touch every part of the process.
Are you telling me we're going to see more lockboxes around the property that I have to keep chopping up?
Well, I'm not gonna tell you that the property that I
You're
just
not
talked
telling me
about, I
where they
still have
are?
to go get my lockbox.
It's all good. I think, under this environment, there has to be a little bit more adaptation, and, we're working through it. And like anybody else, everybody thinks about their industry and what it's like. And
Yeah,
sometimes, we have to reflect on others, and they have to make do in certain ways. So it's a lot of, there has to be a lot of calmness a little bit as we
for
work.
sure. Yeah, yeah.
So in terms of, from your brokerage and your perspective, out of all this, what do you think has been, what are you doing that's a little bit different than, say, some of the other reps out there that are also going into other units or into doing listings for condos? What would you say your niche is, and that's differentiating you from the others?
Um, I mean, I think a lot has to do with just you still need that face to face, but it's all through technology now, right? So I know a lot of agents who, even with the push of technology, are still very, very hesitant to use it. They don't like looking at themselves, like they would not deal with this well at all, right? But you just got to get over it. You just got to get in, and really it's doing the best for your client, right? Not all agents are built equally. Not anybody in any industry is built equally. And I think the most important thing right now, especially during COVID, is to work with your client's best interests in mind. So if they just want to sell just to see what happens, just because, maybe you have the conversation in terms of safety. Maybe you don't want to do that right now, right? Like, I think, sure, everybody wants to make a dollar, but that's not what the business is about, at least for me.
And they're curious to see what's going on.
Yeah, but it's like, you can be curious, or even buyers, some buyers like, oh, I'm going to score a really good deal. It's like, no, prices are still maintaining. They're not going crazy like we saw in the first quarter, but they're still decent. So there's not a ton of deals per se to be had. But it's, do you really want to make that move? And if you do, these are all of the things you have to contemplate with COVID in place. And these are all the things, even home, in condos, there's not really a lot of home inspections, but even if you were to purchase a house, usually it's conditional upon a home inspection. Well, a lot of home inspectors for a while didn't want to go into homes. Right. The homes had to be vacant.
Yeah.
So it's just, you just have to adapt and let your clients know certain things that are going to be happening as per usual, and certain things that aren't going to happen at all. Even some listing agents won't let you go into the unit until you've submitted an offer and it's been accepted conditionally.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I guess one of the things I'm also curious about, because we deal with this often, and we get the questions a lot, whether it's from managers or other potential buyers, renovations. So have you had to deal with that, and how are you kind of discussing this with your clients as to what they can or cannot do and during these times?
You know what, I'm finding that it's very condo specific and board specific. A lot of condos are allowing renovations that were already happening to finish, but aren't allowing new ones, or, limiting the trades that can come in. Trades, I think, are back on now. But a lot of people, a lot of clients were just taking it into their own hands to do the painting, to do the renovations, because they were desperate to sell. So, that's great that they're hustling, but not everybody's a painter.
Or has the patience to paint.
Right?
Like me.
So yeah.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a tough time, and I think everybody's being creative in all sorts of ways. So it's interesting to see how we come out of this and the various skills that people are learning.
Yeah. Come in and I'm like, oh, can you put your phone to that corner? No, you're gonna have to do that. They love me and they hate me all at the same time.
It's all good. I think, at the end, as long as we're doing the right thing by everyone, it should work out okay. Well, I appreciate you taking the time today to connect with me. I hope you're doing well, and I hope to actually get to see you in person.
Yes.
Soon.
Thanks so much, Mo.
Thank you. Take care.
This is Tanya Halleck, the president of CCI Toronto. CCI Toronto can help your condo achieve social and financial success. Thank you for listening.